Welcome to Shimmer Girl Talks. This couple of videos came across my feed about, I guess there's this new trend on TikTok about people who are not hood or consider themselves hood being scared of hood people. And as you would imagine, hood people got triggered and in their feelings and came out in droves to gaslight, browbeat, bully as per usual. Now, I was going to repeat something that Candace on Real Housewives of Potomac says, but it's not Christian like and it's not nice, so I'm not going to say it. But I've been down this road multiple times with, as people say, yo cousins, or like I like to say, Negroes. So I'm going to share one video right here.
Suburban black people talking about how uncomfortable and unsafe they feel around hood black people is obviously internalized anti-blackness and not surprising, but I want to explain why hood black people should actually be afraid of suburban black people, not the other way around. So I came from a very wealthy private school that was predominantly white and entered into a black underfunded high school because my parents could no longer afford tuition even though I was on scholarship. When I entered that predominantly black environment after coming from a predominantly white environment, I too was uncomfortable. But what I learned is that those black people that existed in that predominantly black environment were not a threat to me as another black person, but I, as another black person, was a threat to them because the administration of the school was trying to protect me and create an environment for me where I felt safe because of my educational background.
Now, you heard this young woman say that she grew up in a wealthy home. I'm going to assume a mother and father in the home. And when they were no longer able to pay for her schooling, she ended up in public schools. And she said that it wasn't that people like her should be scared of hood people. It should actually be the other way around. And to me, it was a crock of hooey. I am a woman, and I have mentioned this on my channel before, and I've also been in many an argument online with hood people. One thing that I could tell you about hood people is they like to diminish your experience. They want to tell you what your experience should be because you are black like them. And if it does not jive the same as theirs, then you will be called out of your name. You think you think you're special. What, you want a cookie because you didn't grow up in the hood? You think you better than everybody? They be casting their perceptions about you onto you. I think I said that right. You don't think that about yourself. I consider myself an easygoing person, but as I've mentioned in my Why Are People Scared of Quiet People video 5 or so years ago, one thing about black folk, they don't understand shyness, quietness, keeping to yourself, being an introvert. That's my personal experience, and I'm allowed to have that experience. But one thing about our community, the hood people seems to be the default for the black community. And doesn't matter if you have an education. Look at this, the Fannie Willis and the Tiffany Henyard and the Kwame Kilpatricks. These were people in leaderships and they still had a hood mentality. So watched this young woman, a hood woman, self-identified, said, if people would just have a conversation with us and we could get a, understanding and understand each other, that is bull crap. I remember speaking to a friend from the hood many years ago. We were in our 20s, and I'm trying to tell her how I felt coming in from a predominantly white community and trust and believe there are cons living amongst them as well, but that's not what this video is about. And she was like belligerent angry. And that's something a lot of hood people don't seem to realize. A lot of them are angry. And if they see somebody, a black person in particular, that they deem as different from them, different from the norm, oh, trust and believe you will get dogged. And when I have had this discussion before, you have people come at you with, well, everybody was picked on, everybody was this, everybody, body was that. You can't tell people how to respond to what they went through with certain people. Even though I grew up in a predominantly white community, and I've shared this before, if you had to like go off on one of them, typically they left you alone. But you go off on a black person, typically a hood person, you got to deal with their whole posse. And somebody tell me I'm lying. And when I looked at a video earlier, somebody else said the same thing. She said she would have people, women walking up on her like wanting to fight her, and she said she had never seen them before, never spoke to them. She said she didn't even have a boyfriend, so it wasn't a case of maybe some jealousy, rivalry type thing. If people want to call me a classist, elitist, or whatever it is, if that's what hood people want to deem me as, then that's what I am then. Even though I don't consider myself that, and I'm not. I'm a blue collar worker. But I've done white collar as well. But I've always been a mind my own business, keep my head down type of a person. But with hood people, you really can't be that, because they're going to pull you into their foolishness. And then when you say something to try to defend yourself, now all of a sudden you're the one that's wrong. And like I said, then they want to get their girls to come against you. It's just a big mess. And I'm going to say this final thing. The default people of our community is the hood people. Point blank, period. It's like you can't have a personality aside from Sexy Red, Cardi B, that type of rough around the edges, edgy, sassy. It's like it's no in between with us as a community. You're either hood or bougie. It doesn't seem to be just regular people down the middle. I consider myself a regular person down the middle. I'm not hood, don't like hood people, don't care who gets offended. And I don't care for bougie people either, but I can tell you about bougie people. They ain't bothered about hood people. They live off in their communities, and good for them. I'm not in a bougie community. I'm in a blue collar community, but it's a nice community. But, that was my topic for today. And I don't know if you guys could tell I got a little bit heated, but I just get so tired of having to defend myself against people that look like me. Particularly when I'm just, I might be kind of outspoken online, but in my day-to-day base, in my day-to-day life at work, I'm just quiet and keep to myself and talkative with the people I want to be talkative with. But that was my video. Chime in. Tell me what you think about this whole beef between the hood versus the not hood, because that's what it boils down to. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.